Hey now, what's going on everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and in continuing my tribute to Wes Craven, I am here to review Deadly Blessing, which is a 1981 horror film slash thriller film. The plot of this movie is we meet Maureen Jensen as this character, Martha Smith. Her and her husband John live on this farm, like out in the middle of nowhere. And she's pregnant, so hey, everything seems to be okay, right? Until John gets murdered. And that's when the movie basically becomes a murder mystery. Because Martha's two friends come to her house to try to help her out. But people start getting killed around the area. And so, who's the killer? Who is the killer? Now, what I think of Deadly Blessing is, this is interesting, because I actually enjoyed this movie. I did. And I'm a little surprised, I guess, because I almost didn't watch this movie. I almost didn't review this movie, because when Wes Craven died, one of the first things I did after being very upset and just thinking about it a lot was I went online and I looked up his filmography, because I knew I wanted to do this, review a lot of his movies, and trying to pick and choose which ones to do was quite a task. And doing so, I looked online for what people thought of some of these movies, the general consensus, Rotten Tomatoes or various other websites. And a lot of people do not like this movie, or at least it's not one of the higher ranked Wes Craven films. And look, I'm not going to say that it was the greatest movie in the world or it's my favorite Wes Craven movie, because no, that's far from true, but still, I liked it a lot better than I thought I was going to like it. I was into this. I was into, maybe it's the whole murder mystery thing, like who's the killer. I can kind of get into that no matter what. Even if the characters are halfway interesting, still trying to figure out who the killer is and see if I'm smart enough to figure it out before we get the reveal is what's fun about it. I can say that I was wrong about who this killer was. I won't give it away, but when you do find out, you're kind of like, what? Well, I definitely wasn't expecting that, especially their reasoning for it. Like, wow, that took some balls to go there. Michael Berryman plays William Glutz, and some people might recognize him from The Hills Have Eyes, the original, as one of the creepy fuckers. And he has that look to him, right? Even in this movie, he's very creepy. He's chasing around this girl, Faith, that he likes, and you can't help but think, this fucker's probably the killer, just on face value alone. But then he gets killed off very early. Spoilers, maybe, I don't know. I don't really care. Sorry guys, but he gets killed off very early, and that immediately gets rid of him as a suspect, and it brought more of a surprise element to it, so I appreciated that. The main character's two friends that come in to see her, Vicky Anderson and Lana Marcus. Lana Marcus is played by a very young Sharon Stone. I'm sure most people, when they think of the name Sharon Stone, they think of her uncrossing her legs and having no panties on, which makes sense. It's the second thing that I think of when I think of her. But for me, when I think of Sharon Stone, I think of a line that actually came from another Wes Craven film, my favorite horror movie of all time, Scream, where Stu in the movie says, "Let's face it, Sydney, your mom was no Sharon Stone." I just always think of that line. And when you see Sharon Stone here, she's smoking hot. She is. I think she's a good actress. She's good in this movie. She has this one scene where she gets stuck in the barn and she's frantic, running around. She's very believable like that. I do think they could have done without her falling like 3 or 4 times in this one scene, but hey, what can you do? It's 1981. As far as memorable scenes in the movie, the bathroom scene, where Martha's in the bathroom tub and there's a snake that comes out of, it looks like her vagina, but it's really just, it was in the pipes or something, and it comes and tries to attack her. She's all freaked out. That's a pretty awesome scene, I will admit that, especially because it came before A Nightmare on Elm Street, the infamous scene with Nancy in the bathtub and Freddy's hand coming out. Like, sure, that scene is more memorable, iconic, and badass, but this came first. Wes Craven obviously had this idea in his head and redid it in a better way, but still, I appreciate it. Another scene that just really sort of struck me as kind of creepy was there's these two characters in a car and they're going at it, and then the killer goes after them and basically puts gasoline all over the car, leaves a trail for it, lights it on fire, and the girl is trying to drive away, but the lit fire now is following the trail of gasoline as she's trying to drive away, and kaboom! I just thought that was very, very cool, almost just having the fire stalk the car and catching up. Very different, even though you do have to yell at this character and say, just get out the fucking car before it blows up. Another interesting plot point is you had the Hittite people, like these Amish people who are very standoffish to the main characters, hate the fact that the husband went off to be with this woman and left their religion, tradition, and stuff, and that's where you have a subplot of the husband's brother who starts to like Vicky, and you do sit there and go like, okay, do you really care about any of this love stuff? But it did bring in John's father, Isaiah, who's kind of a dick and an asshole, so I guess there's that. You have to have something else going on. Anyways, guys, I enjoyed this film. I did. Was it perfect? No. Was it the greatest? No. But still, I was into it. I was into the mystery and the thrills going on. You could tell that Wes Craven was in that transitional phase where he went from like hardcore horror to like more of the thrills, more to prove that he's a slightly better filmmaker than people might think he was at the time. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen Deadly Blessing. What do you think of it? Like, comment, subscribe. Later!